He's despicable. His whole act of limping around, it's a complete act. It's not real. I don't know if it's so we think he's going to die and make him in some sort of deal or what, but
he just wants people to feel sorry
he just wants people to feel sorry for him, and it's all an act.
What did you think, Justin, when he walked in?
Same thing. He just looks for attention to have people feel sorry for him. That's all I think. It's an act.
All right, Mr. Studebaker, there are 3 matters we're scheduled for decisions to preliminary hearing. Go ahead.
So, Your Honor, on case ending in 128 and 171, we'd ask the court to have those trail case ending in 110. In case ending 110, as the court's aware, last time we were in court, the court had provisionally or whatever, had appointed as part of the contract we have with Bottsville County. And then subsequently, after research, and I think probably in communication from the AOC, determined that because Bottsville County pays into the Indigent Defense Fund, that aggravated murder would be presented to that. And then about the same time frame, I'm really qualified, and all the other really qualified lawyers received an email asking for anybody who would have the ability to represent Mr. Brenner. I responded yes, and so my name and probably others were submitted to this court. This last week, this court issued an order, I think it was Thursday, appointing under the Rule 8 process. We started the work on that. We have to enter a new contract with the Indigent Defense Fund, not with Bottsville County, and then they would then handle fund requests, separate contracts, things to that effect, which the court's aware with. I then reached out to Attorney Jonathan Nish. John is also a really qualified lawyer, and asked, for him, because I was on vacation, to start looking into this, what we need to do. He reached out to the Indigent Defense Fund, and then started that process for me, and then said we would need this court to appoint co-counsel. When I looked at the emails he was sending me while I was gone, as well as his communication with the IDF, it would appear that under the contract they require 2 Rule 8 lawyers to be appointed on any aggravated murder. That's not within the purview of Bottsville County. This is something that's part of the what I refer to as the fund. We had filed a motion, I believe Saturday. I was actually at the airport and filed a motion. Asked this court to appoint Jonathan Nish as co-counsel pursuant to the IDF requirements. The state has not had the opportunity to respond to that. I acknowledge that. We just filed that as soon as I got back to shore. And so our request would be that, I guess, if the state wants to file a response, then we would need the appropriate time to respond on things to that effect. If they do not wish to file a response, we'd ask the court to issue a written entry similar to what the court did when the court appointed me. So we could bring Mr. Nish on, and we can go from there and set the next court date. So I think that's the first hurdle we need to jump through. Hurdle, not hurdle.
Hurdle. All right, hurdle. Anything from the state?
I saw the filings. I don't know how the IDF works as far as them appointing a second counsel. I know they do, definitely in capital cases. This is not a capital case. But if the IDF covers 2 attorneys, I think that's none of my business. So I think that's the only question I have, is whether on a non-capital aggravated murder case, whether it covers 2 attorneys or just 1.
So in the information I received from Mr. Nish, who's very qualified, he's with this court, or was with this court already on a Rule 8 case. Well, on that one, it was capital, and we acknowledge that. But the contract says, the way IDF interprets that, is that, and I acknowledge that the state of Utah in this case is not seeking death, but the contract and applying the statute says that if death may be a possibility, and it's not in this one, but if it may be, and it's talking about the general code section, then they appoint 2. And usually it's lead counsel, which would be myself, who reaches out and finds competent, qualified co-counsel on that. We have very qualified public defenders, so I'm not saying that they're not. but they are not really qualified. I'm the only one who is really qualified. And so I think what I would ask for is issue minute entry, appointing Jonathan Nish and then if IDF as co-counsel, and then if IDF has a concern about that, then we can come back before this board and raise that issue. Otherwise, if we give the state a chance to respond, and which we're entitled to, and then we reply, and we have to do notice to submit and all that type of process. But I think maybe that'll help alleviate so the county's concerned. We could issue an order or amendment entry order saying let's appoint Jonathan Nish unless IDF objects. And then Mr. Nish he would have to enter a contract with IDF, like I have to enter a contract with IDF. That would be the position I would take. If the court agrees with that, would be set the next court date.
I'm just not sure that your interpretation is correct when you say may. Clearly, as it's charged, it may, but with the state's declaration,
right,
that may eliminate that.
It may. I agree.
And so, therefore, I'm not sure if that would apply. So,
but IDF, the way the contracts, what I'm being told, is the way the contracts are drafted by IDF, any ruling case, because Bottsville County pays into that fund, and not all the counties do, it's usually the smaller or more rural counties, then IDF appoints two really qualified lawyers. And that's something that's outside the purview of anything here. That's why I think maybe to protect everybody's concerns, we can have the issue of order saying that Mr. Jonathan Nish is appointed as co-counsel and is ordered to, do the same thing the court did with my appointment, and then go forward there. And then if IDF has a complaint or concern, right, we come back before this court and say, hey, Your Honor, it would appear that we were all wrong. We ask the court to vacate the order of appointing Mr. Nish, and we go from there.
let me just I'll take a look into it, and then I'll issue an appropriate order.
Okay.
Whether or not I believe that is the correct interpretation, and then once I've issued that order, if there's some disagreement from either side, you can address it at that
Okay,
point.
then we'll move on to hearing. So what I'd ask for to do is set this for decision of prelim. I hate to do this, but further decision of prelim July 3rd. The reason I hate to do it is I'm just recovered from surgery that week, but we need to get this case proceeding forward.
So unfortunately, we have to do at least 6 weeks.
Here's the problem that is, I guess, presented in this case.
Sure.
And I think you're aware of that. Mr. Studebaker, Mr. Brenner is in federal custody.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Each time this court acts, it has to get permission from the federal government to bring Mr.
Right. Yeah, that was my mistake.
Mr. Brenner in. And from what I understand from the state, the process is a minimum of 6 weeks.
Yeah, what I'd ask for is that
Is that accurate?
Correct.
yeah, that's correct. Some of the counties have things just goes with federal. That's anyway. That is correct. I'd ask for to set this for decision of prelim July 31st, then
1:30.
yeah, that works out.
Is that all right with the state? All right, July 31st at 1:30, where the state has no opposition to the appointment of Mr. Nish. If that is feasible and can be done, Mr. Studebaker, after I've had a chance to review it, I will issue the order. If not, I will issue an order.
Okay, and then if there's an objection, we can ask for an objection, and expect you to go to the secretary on it.
And if not, then I will issue an order that says that that request is denied. At that point, you can govern yourself accordingly.
Okay, we'll do that. But on that one, because Mr. Brenner is a federal inmate, we will request his request to be waived. We don't want to wait till July 31st to, get co-counsel appointed.
Oh, meaning if I deny the request and you object and you want to have a hearing on the
Right.
issue, you want that to waive his appearance?
We waive his appearance. Yeah, just because we don't want to drag it out.
Okay. Does the state have any opposition?
No, I think that's right.
And are you all right with that as well, Mr. Brenner? Is that a yes? Yes. Thank you. All right.
I don't see that.
That'll be everything then, unless you have something further.
No, that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember what I told you.